Harley's flagship engine, the Milwaukee-Eight, is a classic love-hate relationship. Some of my subscribers adore it for its sheer power, reliability and the avalanche of electronic gadgets it brings. Others slam it for being water-cooled, too modern, lacking that authentic Harley feel. But what is a true Harley engine? Many fans point to the iconic Evolution engine. Many are convinced the EVO is the best engine Harley has ever built, beats everything that came afterwards, the Milwaukee-Eight included. They praise the old EVO for its true potato sound that Harley fans love so much and claim that it's nearly indestructible. If something does break, the engine was super simple to repair, but how much of these stories are fact? Is the EVO really that good? And how does it actually compare to the modern Milwaukee-Eight? In this video you will find out. I will walk you through the main strengths and weaknesses of both engines and put them head to head. I studied technical drawings, shop reports, official recall data and summarized the essentials for this video. And no, it was not just a power figure comparison. Obviously the Milwaukee-Eight is much stronger on paper, but let's be honest, most Harley riders don't choose a bike solely for the maximum power. A Harley is about the ride, the unique sound and the right kind of feeling. So let's first look at the pros and cons of the EVO and compare it to the Milwaukee-Eight. I'm pretty sure the results will surprise you, so stay until the end. The EVO Big Twin with 80 cubic inches was produced from 84 to 98 and it changed quite a bit during that run. The first production year differs significantly from the last production year, so I will highlight the major changes throughout the years too. The EVO was a massive success and became part of the 90s motorcycle culture. Mickey Rourke, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, plenty of celebrities rode and loved their EVOs. So what made the engine so special? Let's take a closer look. In 84, the first Big Twin Evolution engine debuted in the FXR frame and the now famous Softail frame. Touring models followed shortly after. Harley didn't skimp on modern tech during the EVO's design. Compared to the shovelhead, the EVO was produced with modern casting methods that significantly reduced oil leaks. It ran cooler, was quieter and produced more power than the shovelhead. But raw numbers only tell a part of the story. You have to ride and listen to an EVO to really get it. The legendary potato sound is the reason why many new riders often prefer an old used EVO over new bikes. A friend of mine in his mid-30s recently traded his 600cc super sport Japanese bike for an old EVO and hasn't stopped grinning ever since. But the EVO doesn't just sound great, it rides exceptionally smooth. The vibration balance is just right, not too much and not too little. In the rigid FXR frame, the EVO moves through corners with confidence. Issues like the infamous Dyna wobble are largely non-existent in the FXR EVOs. The first Big Twin EVO came with a 5-speed gearbox and electronic ignition. No more kickstarting was required. In 86, the Sportster was fitted with an EVO engine for the first time, available with 54 and 67 cubic inches. Another milestone came in 88 when the EVO received a modern CV carburetor and a new airbox that improved the engine dynamics. That same year, the Sportster displacement was also increased. In 89, the EVO received an improved crankshaft and a new starter, which improved longevity and was easier to replace. Another crucial change came around 91. Harley began using INA camshaft bearings in their engines, which proved to be inferior and less durable than the older Torrington bearings. I say around 91 because I couldn't find a single 100% reliable source confirming the exact switch date. However, most sources point to 91 or 92. In fact, the inferior bearings caused a range of engine issues, especially when owners added performance mods like sharper cams. In this case, the bearings wore out faster and could cause catastrophic engine failure. Engines built before 91 didn't have these issues and are generally more robust due to the more robust bearings. So if you own an EVO or plan to get one, check the camshaft bearings and replace them preemptively. Note that bearing failures were relatively rare in the grand scheme of things and you can often find EVOs with 100k miles or more that still run perfectly fine. In 91, the EVO was also introduced in the new Dyna frame, which is inferior to the FXR frame but is cheaper to produce. From 96 onward there were many meaningful improvements to the EVO. Some consider the models 96 and onwards as the golden generation of the EVO. Smaller motor tweaks further reduced vibration. The electrical system was also improved with waterproof connectors in the wiring harness, which reduced corrosion and electrical gremlins. Older EVOs before 96, particularly those ridden on coastal regions, often suffered from electrical problems. Speaking of corrosion, have you ever noticed paint flaking of an EVO engine? That gets a lot better after 96 too, because Harley improved the powder coating process as well. Now what about oil leaks in the EVO engine? They are much rarer than on the shovel head, but they still occur, mostly at the cylinder bases and the head gaskets. Fortunately, from 96 on, Harley also improved the cylinder base seals, reducing the notorious oil sweating. So to summarize, early EVOs until the 90s tended to be more robust in terms of the bearings, but had some quality issues. Later models, especially from 96 onwards, are noticeably more modern and have fewer problems. Did I miss anything? Let me know in the comments below if you know other important upgrades that I've missed. Let's see how the EVO stacks up against the Milwaukee-Eight. I will take a look at 5 categories: the comfort, the feeling, the sound, the performance and the reliability. Without question, the Milwaukee-Eight brings modern electronic comforts like ABS, LED lights and cruise control to boost ride comfort considerably. And there are also small differences that only show when you ride both bikes back to back. For example, the Milwaukee-Eight's turn signals cancel automatically after you turn. On most early EVOs, they don't. The Milwaukee-Eight also has modern engine management that prevents the engine from gulping and needing to gather itself when you twist the throttle. That gulp can happen on carbureted EVOs, and when that happens you can feel the age of the engine. Yet the EVO's throttle response feels more immediate and frankly more authentic. The motor lunges and roars beautifully when you open up that throttle. By contrast, the Milwaukee-Eight feels like there's a little delay at the takeoff. However, the list of innovation that Harley has added in the 40+ years since the EVO is long. Literally enough to fill a full documentary, and most of them make sense. For example, have you ever compared the saddlebags of a 94 Heritage to a Milwaukee-Eight Heritage? It's a night and day difference. The Milwaukee-Eight bags open with a click, whereas the EVO bags feel like an unsolvable riddle, especially at night. So the comfort category goes clearly to the Milwaukee-Eight. But what about feeling, and what does that even mean? We're talking about engine vibrations, the character of a running motor and the smell of rich fuel from the pipes. The Milwaukee-Eight feels much more modern, it vibrates less and has none of the carburetor smell. But you can sense the engine's power and how it's ready to deliver it. The EVO, on the other hand, starts with a choke pulled and needs a moment to come alive, just like a granddad after a midday sleep. However, once it's warm, it settles into a rhythmic beat and vibrates in a very pleasant way. The EVO is not about outright performance, but about deliberate deceleration. It forces you to slow down and enjoy the ride. And it does that brilliantly. But you probably have to ride an EVO to fully understand why the feeling category goes to the EVO. Now sound. This one is not entirely clear-cut. The EVO produces the classic Harley-Davidson potato sound, a relaxing and soul-soothing rhythm. The motor hums along and keeps purring. But I have to admit, the Milwaukee-Eight sound isn't shy either. Thanks to the higher compression and larger displacement, the M8 delivers a deep, powerful tone. Of course, that assumes you've invested in decent slip-ons like most owners do. If we compared stock exhausts, of course the EVO would win this category hands down. But with open pipes, the Milwaukee-Eight can produce a bigger, bass-heavy sound that easily outshines the EVO. Still, I like the EVO's tone a little bit more, so I'll give that point to the EVO. Now what about performance? That goes decisively to the Milwaukee-Eight. It's the modern high-performance engine. Sure, you can tune EVOs, but the Milwaukee-Eight has greater performance and tuning potential. No wonder they're used in bagger racing today. Now let's talk about reliability. Now this one is a bit trickier. I made a whole video about the Milwaukee-Eight's reliability, so check that out. You can find it in the link above. Fact, the EVO has less electronics than the Milwaukee-Eight, so is the EVO better? Not necessarily. In a 30,000 mile endurance test, the Milwaukee-Eight proved very robust and showed no major electronic failures. Older EVOs, however, can suffer from corroded connectors and aging control units, which can cause intermittent issues. Even though the Milwaukee-Eight is loaded with electronics, those systems are modern and generally very reliable. Now what about engine component durability? The EVO is overall robust, but the weaker cam bearings in some cases can lead to engine failure. The Milwaukee-Eight, on the other hand, is very robust, and modern production techniques mean that even after 30,000 miles, the engine showed minimal wear. Some early model Milwaukee-Eights had something issues, and some touring models experienced oil transfer between the primary and the gearbox. Both issues could damage the engine. However, those issues have become rare in models produced after 2020 and can largely be ignored today. So in summary, both engines are reliable, but because the Milwaukee-Eight tends to have fewer electrical gremlins overall, I'd give the reliability point to the Milwaukee-Eight. So my final score is 3-2 in favor of the Milwaukee-Eight. Conclusion: the Evolution is a fantastic engine and it was technically up to date in its time. But the number of innovation and improvements to the Milwaukee-Eight made it a truly excellent modern motor. And honestly, when I want to get from A to B quickly and reliably, I usually pick my Softail Deluxe over my EVO. What do you think? Do you agree, or would you crown the EVO? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see how the Milwaukee-Eight performed in the long-term test, check out my next video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.